Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Hello, American families. Welcome to this week's episode of The Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell, and if you love your family, care about them deeply, and want to learn how to protect them in every facet of your life, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show for you today, and I know you're going to love it.
Awesome. All right. That obviously was not Skip Coryell. That was Phoenix Coryell. Phoenix wanted to be part of the show today. Phoenix, my 9-year-old son, I want to thank you for helping me with the show today.
You're welcome.
All right. This is your day off homeschool, so why don't you go and play with your sister, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love you, son. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. That was good. That was really good. And it's true. We really do have a great show for you today. We are going to have Mark Walters, the host of Armed American Radio. Mark is always a fantastic interview. The guy knows so much about the gun industry, the Second Amendment industry. He is right there, he's got his finger on the pulse of everything that's happening with the Second Amendment. So that will be coming up in segments 2 and 3, and we are going to be talking about, I hate to even say it this way, but we're going to be talking about the big NRA scandal. It's true, there is a scandal at the National Rifle Association. Oliver North was forced out. Wayne Lapierre is still there. And there are just a lot of scandalous things going on. And it's being investigated by a lot of people in the media. You name it. It's just not good for America. And Mark Walters is going to give us the straight scoop on all of that, so we know what to do about it. Okay, been a great week for me. I just finished the audiobook for Concealed Carry for Christians. Those files are out for review, and they could be up on Amazon within the next week or so. I narrated that one by myself. Jack Pine Strong, my latest novel, that should be coming out on audiobook within a week. So check out both of those. Those are coming up. I had a great book signing last weekend over Memorial Day at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range in Dorr, Michigan, just south of Grand Rapids. Had a great time. Oh, man, I met a lot of the listeners, a lot of my readers. We just had a really good time. I was there for like 4 hours talking to people, so it was just awesome. And I want to thank all of you for coming out, for buying the book, and just sitting down and chewing the fat a little bit. It's always a great time to touch base with the listeners and with my readers. So, what am I doing now? I got my garden all planted. And now I'm sitting out on the deck and I'm just watching it grow. The kale is up. I'm excited about the kale. Simple minds are easily amused, aren't they? I'm just watching the crops grow. We've had tons and tons of rain. A lot of the fields are underwater. But hey, who knows? I'm excited about the farmer who planted corn on the western boundary of my property. It's usually alfalfa. This year, he plowed it all under, he planted corn. And I never see deer during daylight hours on that corner of my property. But I have a feeling this coming fall, I'm going to see a lot more activity in that tree stand. I'm going to put up a really nice ladder stand there, comfortable, well placed. Because I've got to get at least 4 deer this fall, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Mushroom season is over. Morel mushrooms, had a great time. I just had all kinds of mushrooms that I found right up until my back went out on me. 61 years old. Every once in a while, my back goes out, usually once in the spring and once in the fall. It's almost like clockwork, but that's the way that it is. So now, today, I'm taking my kids swimming. They are excited about that. We're going to go down the road here to Lake 16, not Lake 15, Lake 16. That's how they name the lakes around here. And they're going to go out there and they're going to go, wow, Dad, this is a lot colder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to stand on shore and just enjoy laughing. But hey, kids, they do the same thing in the wintertime, right? When they're out sledding, their teeth are chattering, their face is turning blue, everything's numb, but they're just having a good old time. And I'm sure they'll have a good time there. And I got to do some fishing. I got to do some trout fishing. Absolutely. And coming up this Sunday, I have got a level 1 advanced CPL class, Beyond Basic CPL, over in Fenville. I got, I think, 2 slots left. If you want to get in on that, just send me an email, skipcoriel@hotmail.com, skipcoriel@hotmail.com, and you can check that out. All right, let's get straight to the news. I've been neglecting the news lately, so let's go right to the news. This is from bearingarms.com. Man allegedly drops drugs out his rear after shooting his ... front. I wonder what that means. Let's read on. If America's Funniest Home Videos has taught us nothing else, it's that when someone gets hurt in the junk, it's funny. Okay. All right, that reminds me of that movie, Idiocracy. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and see it, but don't let the kids listen. There's a lot of foul language in it. At least it's funny when it happens to someone else. I second that. However, it can be downright hysterical when it happens to an alleged criminal. That's what reportedly happened to a Washington State man. But the humor in the situation doesn't stop there. Oh no, it gets better. A bungling felon from Washington State made a series of blunders when he shot himself in the testicles and tried to hide the weapon, all while storing drugs in his anus? I think that's not a typo. A report said Wednesday. Cameron Jeffrey Wilson, 27, was carrying a pistol in his front pocket, which you should never do, by the way, not without a pocket holster, while in his Kashmir, Washington apartment on April 5, when the firearm accidentally discharged and pierced his groin and thigh, according to the Wenatchee World News. Wilson, who was a 13-time convicted felon, apparently 13 is not his lucky number, told his girlfriend to dispose of the weapon before heading to the hospital. Which weapon was he talking about? Oh, the gun. The paper said. Not a good start for our intrepid individual. Oh no, you see, there's a reason the report states where drugs were stored. If you guess that the hiding place wasn't as secure as Sparky the Wonder Spud probably thought. I like that. Sparky the Wonder Spud. I'll have to use that one. You're right. When the ex-con finally went to the hospital, a balloon of marijuana slipped out of his rectum. Oh my gosh. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You get smarter when you take drugs. And there was a balloon. It came out, and then a clown holding onto the balloon. Oh, this is terrible. While a doctor was operating on the gunshot wound. Oh, watch me pull a rabbit out of my butt here. I'm in one of those moods. I apologize. Cops also arrived at the hospital when alerted of the gunshot wound and searched Wilson's car, where they discovered a bag of meth in the blood-stained jeans he was wearing when he shot himself. And he says, hey, those aren't my jeans. Oh, boy. A master criminal he ain't. Well, you know what? You got to give the man points for trying, though. Now, let's be clear. I'm amused by his fate. I'm not amused by the fact that despite Washington State's push for more and more gun laws, a 13-time convicted felon was armed. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Note that this wasn't even a particularly intelligent criminal. I mean, he brought a bag of meth to the hospital after he shot himself. Good point. Good point. He had to know the police would be notified. After all, why else dispose of the gun in the first place? Yet again, we see that criminals have no problem obtaining firearms despite all the gun laws you want to pass. They probably just trade drugs for guns. Works. If Wilson can get a gun based on what we see of his intellect, then I seriously doubt any other criminal will have any difficulty obtaining one. Heck, if Wilson could get a gun, I suspect a sea sponge could figure it out. Once again, gun control fails horribly. The only saving grace is that Wilson only managed to shoot himself. Amen to that. It could have gone far differently. He could have murdered innocent people and impacted the lives of good, law-abiding people. We're fortunate that he only put a round into his own body. We're also fortunate regarding where he shot himself. On behalf of humanity as a whole, I'm praying that it prevents him from fathering children. Yes, you are a future Darwin Award recipient. Thank you for taking yourself out of the gene pool. That particular brand of stupid is something we don't see floating around in the gene pool. As it is, we still have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We don't need more. Yeah, I don't see her shooting herself in the testicles. Probably not. I could be wrong, though. You never know. Don't take anything for granted these days. All right. Whew, boy. We are about out of time. It was good to laugh again, though. You know, I've been so stressed out lately. I've been working and working. I've been finishing up on books and audio books and Kindle books, you name it. I've just been working so hard. I needed to relieve some stress. And just remember, folks, be careful how you handle your gun, okay? I mean, don't read anything into that. You know, don't just put it in your pocket. Be safe. Have a good holster. The trigger guard has to be covered up as well as the trigger. So be smart. Be safe. Don't do drugs, okay? All right. All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to have Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio. You know he's on over 250 stations now? That is just awesome. And he'll even talk to me. That's what a humble man. I like that. All right. If you don't know about Mark Walters, check out Armed American Radio. Just go to armedamericanradio.com and you can check him out there. Also, check out our sponsors. We have a 2-minute break here, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and see how they can help you should you ever have to use your firearm in self-defense. And then don't forget Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, centershotgunrange.com, where it is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
My name is Siege Coryell. Welcome to the Home Defense Show with my dad, Skip Coryell. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to centershotgunrange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Centershot Indoor Gun Range.
This is Colonel Denny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Today, we have one of my favorite guests, my buddy, my pal, Mark Walters from Armed American Radio. Mark, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Skip. Always a pleasure, and you're one of my favorite too, brother.
All right, thank you, Mark. You know, Mark, you and I, we were talking offline. You had written an article, oh boy, about the NRA and the suit that they had filed, and it seems kind of convoluted until you read the article that you wrote for AmmoLand. And,
yeah.
You know, can you give people, just start out with the background. What are the facts? What actually is happening with the NRA?
You know, I don't think anybody really truly knows. We know the sordid info that's come out over the last few weeks. Let me go back to the beginning here. When I was at the National Rifle Association meetings, I was working with the Second Amendment Foundation at the booth for the entire duration of the show with Mr. Alan Gottlieb. And I had an opportunity to talk with Tom Gresham at the booth. We worked together at the booth for a while, Tom and I did. With Alan, Dave Workman was there. You had some heavy hitters that were there. And the conversation began to change as we got closer and closer to the members and to the board meeting, because things began to leak out. All of a sudden, information began to pour out, and what started off as fairly, I'd say, it was a festive atmosphere at the NRA. It always is. There's 85,000 like-minded people in the same place, and everybody's there. But we had heard rumors going into the meeting that it was going to be contentious. All right. Then we started hearing some of the contentious rumors begin coming out. Numbers began coming out. The sordid information between Wayne Lapierre and Oliver North. It appeared on the surface that Oliver North was exposing some fiduciary mismanagement at the top of the NRA. And Wayne Lapierre shot back that he was being extorted by Oliver North. And the whole thing got ugly, and then it blew up at the meeting. A few days after the National Rifle Association meeting, some numbers came out. Some very exclusive private plane, private jet flights, the Bahamas, over Europe, suits to the tune of Wayne Lapierre spending $39,000 in one day at a fancy boutique in Beverly Hills. And, you have people out there that looked at the numbers and thought, well, that's over a 15-year period. Okay, that's not that bad. Well, yeah, it is, because he did that. It wouldn't be that bad if he was doing it every day, but he did it just a small few times over a 15-year period. The $39,000 in suits, look, so my column was titled, and I've written a couple, was titled NRA Suits, because of the lawsuits between Ackerman and the NRA that went down. The whole thing got ugly. And I said, look, you wouldn't be in this position if you'd shopped at Joseph A. Banks, brother. In fact, if you did it on a Tuesday, you probably would have gotten 2 for 1, pal, and you wouldn't be in this situation. And I hate to use the term, Skip, but I'm going to. The optics, I hate that's a leftist-produced term, but the optics look terrible for the NRA. You've got a lot of exorbitant expenses. You've got a lot of very expensive suits that are unnecessary. I've done a lot of TV work. I wear the same suits that as long as I fit in them, I'll wear them for years. Nobody knows. Nobody looks at my suit and says, did you see him on TV? God, that was a crappy-looking suit.
Right.
Nobody says that.
Yeah.
So why does he feel he needs to be shopping in Beverly Hills? The whole thing is outrageous. So my deal was there needs to be a change of management at the National Rifle Association. Anybody who's capable of this level of mismanagement over the years needs to go. Those guys have been there a long time. You've got now Ackerman McQueen. The NRA filed suit against Ackerman McQueen, their long-term PR/advertising partner. Ackerman McQueen countersued. The NRA filed a separate lawsuit the other day. This is a mess. And the National Rifle Association shouldn't be in this position. America needs a strong National Rifle Association. And while I've been tough on them and called for a relief at the top, clean house. The master bedroom's got to be cleaned out. Get rid of whoever's responsible. If there's anything illegal, do what you need to do. And believe me, New York State and prosecutors are looking into this. This isn't me talking. This is them talking.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could look into you over 20 years and find something if I wanted to. So expect New York going to find something. That freight train has left the station. It's not going to stop until it plows right into Waples Mill Road in Virginia, and it's not going to apply the brakes. Management needs to change. America needs a strong NRA going forward. I don't need to remind everybody what we're facing in 2020. The worst campaign against our firearms freedoms in this country's history, times however many lunatics there are running to out-left each other. I think what's it up to now, 1,208 goofballs on the left?
Yeah.
It's crazy what we're facing, and it's terrible that the NRA has put itself in this position. Someone must step up, man up, and say, look, the buck stops with me, and go. What's Wayne, 74? Hey, Wayne, love you. You did some great things over the years. You're now a punching bag. I don't think you have any credibility. I'm not going to stand up and cheer for you. Just retire already, and let's bring some new blood in, and let's clear the NRA, and let's get this thing moving again.
Can you imagine?
That's my position. I'm sure a lot of people are not happy with that, but I couldn't care less.
Can you imagine going to Wayne Lapierre's yard sale? I mean, some of that, you could pick up some real deals on some suits, I would think. But
well, I don't know. I guess Wayne Lapierre feels that they're used after one or two appearances. I don't know.
It could be. It could be.
Oh, ouch. I don't know that to be the case.
Well, how much does Mr. Lapierre make? What's his salary per year? That's public, isn't it?
Over $1 million. Look, we could go back to about 3 or 4 years ago when it became public knowledge that Wayne Lapierre took a payout on his retirement at $4 million. This is mind you, this is a not-for-profit organization. These people are paying themselves millions of dollars. Now, who's paying for that? I am. My dues are paying for that. And any other contributions that I make pay for that. And again, I go back to the optics of this.
Yeah.
I go back to the optics. And when when you've got people sitting at the top and you've got all this sordid mess coming out now and a mainstream media that hates you and is relentless in their hatred toward you and extremely well-funded. I don't need to tell you how well-funded the anti-gun left is today.
Yeah.
They could buy and sell, Bloomberg could buy and sell the National Rifle Association headquarters building 50 times over in 10 lifetimes and not dent his wallet. So this is an incredibly well-funded effort against our freedoms and our rights. This is not the time for this to be going on at the National Rifle Association. And my position on this is there's a lot of people out there bashing the NRA. I'm not doing any. If you think that a collapsed NRA, National Rifle Association collapse, is good and healthy for gun rights, you're a fool, because it's not. America needs a strong NRA. It needs to be fixed. Don't leave. Join and fix from within. Run for the board. Do what you need to do. If you're a member, start screaming for changes to be made. Make things happen. I'm not willing to abandon the National Rifle Association at this point.
Yeah.
But I will I will be very critical of them because I'm a member. I'm writing a column about it.
Sure.
My column is written today. You'll see that I come to the defense of the National Rifle Association through all of this because Joe Biden is outrunning now on defeating the NRA. So I dig into that in my column today. What does that mean, to defeat the NRA? Well, if you look at the word defeat as a transitive verb versus a noun and the different definition of the word, what is Joe Biden telling us? Is he telling us he wants to obliterate us? Because that's part of the description of the word. Is he telling us he just wants to defeat our ideas and leave the intact NRA standing? No. These people want to see the NRA fall. Not one of them wouldn't stand up and cheer if the NRA collapsed. So it's not in the best interest of gun owners nationwide to have this organization fall apart. It is in the best interest for someone at that place in Virginia to stand up and go, look, guys, this doesn't look good. I'm the head. I should step down. That's what would happen in private life. That's what would happen in my business. And it has to happen at the NRA. Then let's push forward and grow this thing the way it needs to be, get back to our core roots. And I say, I'm just a member. The NRA doesn't pay me. I've never taken any advice from them. They've never sought my advice. I'm just a member with a microphone, and I'm speaking my mind. And a lot of people up there don't like me for doing that right now, but tough.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you talked about optics, and I agree, it does look bad, but in my mind, even if it didn't look bad, I really don't think that Wayne Lapierre should be... Why can't he buy his own suit? I don't understand that.
This is the sordid arrangement that they had with Ackerman McQueen, okay? And all of this is going to come out. Believe me, the three lawsuits back and forth here. Now, you just have, as you know, just about 2 days ago, Ackerman McQueen dusted its relationship with the NRA after 30 plus years or whatever it is. They've severed their relationship with NRA. In the process, there went NRA TV and the media outlet and everybody that's on that payroll. Cam Edwards, Colleen Noir, I believe Dana Lashes. All these people were being paid. Oliver North was an Ackerman McQueen employee as the president of the NRA. And believe me, I don't think we're going to like what comes out. It's not in the best interest for these two organizations to be dueling it out publicly. They need to come to some type of agreement and move on. It's as simple as that. Because the enemies of our freedom are going to do everything they can. Need I tell you what they're doing to Donald Trump? For God's sakes, look at what they're doing there and look what they're going to do to the National Rifle Association. And it's all self-inflicted. Every bit of this is self-inflicted, which is why I said, clean your house. We've got to move on. Love you. Great job. But you blew it. Now we got to move on. That's just life. That's real life. We cannot refuse to accept that situation.
Well, what do you think are the chances? Any inside information, anything you see coming out of the NRA, will Wayne Lapierre, will he resign? Any chance of that?
I haven't seen any indication of it. It looks like they've dug in their heels. And, not that I've seen. At this now, again, I don't have any inside information. I mean, I guess I'm a little bit better connected to people who are writing about this and breaking the stories. I do tend to see that in advance, but it's not anything that won't be public in a half hour or so. What would be huge for the National Rifle Association right now would be some type of ginormous victory. Would be wonderful. I say this, tongue-in-cheek. Wouldn't it be great if the NRA could convince Trump to sign an executive order that, gives us national reciprocity, for example. I'm using that as a stupid example. I'm saying it would have to be something of that magnitude that would change people's minds. But I don't see anything like that on the horizon. And yes, I'm aware Donald Trump can't sign an executive order to do that. I'm just using that as an example. It would have to be miraculous is what I'm saying. And I just don't see that. I don't see that on the horizon, Skip. I just don't. I think what has to happen is that people like me, people like you, people who have a voice need to speak out and not worry. Again, what am I worried about? I'm simply a member. I would have stood up at the members' meeting if I wasn't manning the booth and said to the board exactly what I'm saying to you right now. So I have no fear of saying that because I'm not on their payroll. I couldn't care less. I'm simply a member, and I'm not relinquishing my membership. It would have to take something fairly catastrophic for that to happen because I firmly believe that the National Rifle Association, who I defend in my piece today, after being pretty hard on them over the last couple months, this country needs a strong NRA. We need to get the NRA back to the organization that struts the halls of Congress with their chest out, putting the fear of God in the enemies of our freedoms in Congress. That's what has to happen. Can it? I don't know. Is it fixable? I don't know. I think if Donald Trump wins this election in 2020, you're going to see a ton of changes across the board because gun rights supporters will feel more confident. You will see the left go, I don't know what's going to happen to them. They're going to hospitalize themselves. I mean, they're so out of their minds now, they still can't believe what's going to happen when Trump wins again another term. I don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't put violence past these people at this point based on what I'm witnessing. So
I agree. Mark, we're about out of time for this segment. But want to hold you over, and when we come back, let's talk about, maybe something about the future of the NRA, and maybe just prognosticate a little bit. All right, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. We are speaking with Mark Walters from Armed American Radio. While we're away, go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and also Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, where it's always a perfect 70 degrees. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is Phoenix Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Always use guns safely and wisely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like the movies and the good guys always won? In today's world, if you're forced to use your firearm to protect yourself, you will need protection. Firearms Legal Protection is here for you. FLP provides you with seasoned, experienced attorneys that handle your criminal and civil matters as a result of you protecting yourself. FirearmsLegal.com provides its members with uncapped attorney's fees, bail bond protection, and coverage in all 50 states. We are not a reimbursement plan. You can access uncapped attorney's fees for as low as $10 a month. Firearms Legal members are provided with educational services, training videos, and access to our vast national attorney network. While you're protecting yourself, let Firearms Legal protect you.
Listen up, folks. This is important. There are plenty of legal protection services out there, but none will protect you as well as Firearms Legal Protection. This is the one I use and the only one I recommend. Visit firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical and protect your family now. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to CenterShotGunRange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Hey folks, I want to tell you about my new book, Concealed Carry for Christians. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and your family, and that includes people of faith. Our churches are not as safe as they used to be, and that's why I included chapters on forming church safety teams and stopping mass shooters. You can get Concealed Carry for Christians real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell, Concealed Carry for Christians, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Concealed Carry for Christians by yours truly, Skip Coryell. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Today we are speaking with Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio. Awesome show. If you haven't checked out Armed American Radio, you need to do that right away. Mark, just so we don't forget, how can people get a hold of Armed American Radio?
Yeah, they can reach me directly at mark@armedamericanradio.org. I read every email that comes in. I might not have an opportunity to reply to everyone anymore, but I do read every single email that comes in. I've got about 5,587 back on those right now, but I'll catch up with them quick. The website is armedamericanradio.com, and you can listen to both of my shows. I'm on the air 6 days a week over the nation's airwaves. The Monster Show on Sundays, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern, 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific, on over 250 radio stations. You can listen, click the Listen Live button to that. You can also listen to my weekday show, Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, 4 to 5 p.m. live Eastern every day, Monday through Friday, and 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. You can do the math in between those left and right coasts and figure out your time zone and when to click that button, but I'd love to have you join me.
Awesome. All right. Now, Mark, I have always viewed, and maybe I'm wrong, but from where I sit, I'm out in the country, born and raised country boy, middle class. I've always viewed the National Rifle Association as primarily a blue-collar, everyday, common Joe kind of a membership. Is that not true, or what's going on?
I mean, all you've got to do is go to a National Rifle Association annual convention. This year's in Indianapolis was great. They're good every year. You got 85 to 86,000 like-minded people of all walks of life in America. So when you hear, to the listener who might not be in tune with this, when you hear the leftist progressive socialist media and the leftist socialist party, formerly known as Democrats, berating the National Rifle Association, they are berating veterans, active duty law enforcement, first responders, blacks, whites, Muslims, yellow, green, of any stripe of America, of any demographic background, is a member of the NRA. Doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, I like to say. Everybody's there. You can find somebody from everywhere at the National Rifle Association. Young kids, beautiful girls, young girls, older women. The impact of females in the shooting sports right now is insane, and it was reflected in Indianapolis. 50% of the stuff now is geared towards women, and there's women of all walks of life there. Small ones, big ones, old ones, young ones, black ones, white ones. It's all of America. Is at the NRA. So when you hear this, it's very frustrating when you hear these people attack the NRA. But understand what they're doing. They're stupid. They believe the bubble that they live in because they have a media that's an echo chamber. The media, they hear everything they say, they hear coming back at them from ABC, NBC, CBS, MSDNC, a lot of times even Fox, particularly if you're listening to that idiot Judge Napolitano or any of the other dopes they put up there. If you're listening to any of the networks, CNN in particular, all you're getting is everything they're saying back at them. So it's only natural psychologically that they begin to believe their own stupidity. And because they believe their own stupidity, you see that there's 32 of these dopes running, and all of them are running as they're all trying to out-left each other. They're doing that for a reason. Every single one of them believes that Donald Trump is not a legitimate president, shouldn't have won the election, Hillary should have won. They still haven't accepted that Donald Trump is the president. So they all believe in their head the stupidity that they are filled with, and they all believe that Donald Trump is a shoo-in to lose. They believe, every one of them believes one of them is going to win. They simply haven't accepted it yet. So when you see these people attack the NRA, they are attacking you. The NRA is simply a euphemism for you, America, millions of people. And it should upset, my gosh, every gun owner in America should be fired up over this.
Yeah.
It should anger all of us. And in large part it does. We see that, when the Democrats get close to wanting to take something away, we see people who aren't members of the NRA or which are the vast majority of gun owners, by the way, are not members of the NRA. 90% of gun owners aren't members of the NRA. But we see them go, even people that don't own guns, sit back and go, whoa, hold on a second, man. The government shouldn't have a right to take this stuff away from me. What's my book next?
Yeah.
Just because I don't have a gun doesn't mean I don't want to buy one day or don't feel that I have a right to own one if I want. That's the way most Americans think, not the way the clown posse over here on the left wants you to believe. Most of America does not think like Kamala Harris or Eric Swalwell or Beto O'Rourke, who looks like he's got to urinate every time he's talking, Most of America doesn't think the way these people think, but they don't know that because all they are is in this echo chamber with the media bouncing it back to them all day. They believe America thinks like them. They're in for a shock. From November of 2020, I firmly believe again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think you're right on that. And you were right in the last election. I think like the only one in America who was right. You nailed it, Mark.
Well, I have to say, I still have people asking me for lotto number picks on that because, I got off the air on Tuesday for the election. And the last comments I made on the air, I believe, were, I will see you on the radio tomorrow. Trump plus 300 electoral votes. I'll see you on the radio. And Trump won by 306 electoral votes. So, yeah, it was a remarkable call, but it was actually kind of an easy call. Because in order to think Trump would have lost, you had to have believed that America was ready for a criminal Hillary Clinton and all of her screeching in the White House. And I never felt that. Not once did I have that feeling. No one I talked to, stupid things. From signs that you saw in yards, from the sides of the rallies, that don't discount that stuff. Mm-hmm. You go to a town of 4,000 people, 20,000 people fill an arena, and there's another 10,000 outside. They're coming from everywhere to see him. And real America is not what you see on the news. I put it in quotation marks. I pick on my parents a lot. When my mom and dad are at their house in Naples for about 5 months every year, I call them every morning, and the conversation will go like this. My mom will answer the phone. Hello. I'll say, hey, what you doing? And she'll say, oh, your dad and I just got our coffee. We're watching the news. And I say, watching the news, huh? What are you watching? Oh, we're watching Fox and Friends. I said, Mom, that's not news. That's four people sitting on a couch giving you their opinion. When somebody starts their sentence on the news with, well, I think, that's not news.
Mm-hmm.
What someone thinks isn't news. Donald Trump's tie is red today. That's news. Not, well, I think he should wear a blue tie. That's opinion. Mm-hmm. And we have lost all of that in America today. We've lost the ability to think the media has done such tremendous damage to the psyche of this country. But real America is not what you see on the curvy couch on Fox. It's not. It's not what you see, that, hyper-partisan, what's her name, Mad Owl, bloviating. That's not normal America. That's junk America. Real American. I'm watching a guy cut his grass across the street from me. He's Chicago. He's from Chicago. He's a gun owner. That's real America. I'm watching my neighbor across the street. I got a black family. I got a family from India. We got people from Chicago. They're all walks of life are in this neighborhood, and they're all best friends of ours. That's America. We don't sit around and say, wow, did you watch Fox News yesterday? Did you see what Rachel Maddow said? Nobody cares.
Yeah, Mark.
And if you don't believe I'm right, let me ask you this question. Who's president?
Yeah, Donald Trump.
There you go.
He's the man. All right, we're speaking with Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio. We've been talking about the NRA, and I guess you'd call it a scandal. But Mark, what happened to Oliver North? He's gone, right?
I don't have a clue. Yeah, he's gone. It's interesting. I actually did get some inside dope at NRA on that. I talked to the individual who actually saw him departing before that news was made public, because that individual was at the Second Amendment Foundation booth talking with us. And I won't name who that was, but that's when we initially heard it. He said, I just saw him leaving, and then boom, that story broke, and it broke nationally that he had departed. And that was because whatever coup, however it went down, failed.
Yeah.
Wayne emerged the victor, and a lot of people thought, oh, here we go. You got all this scandal, all this bad optics, and the people who created it won again. That's a bad optic in and of itself, was some of the thought. But it's sad that meeting was clouded by that. It really is truly sad. But again, it was all self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So,
well, Mark,
Oliver North. Listen, between me and you and Spence, I don't think he was a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a guy known around, and who knows Oliver North? My nephews and nieces don't know Oliver North. My kids don't know him from Adam. Old fat white guys know Oliver North. And what do they know of Oliver North? That he was busted for running guns illegally.
Yeah.
This running for the national right, I never did understand that whole thing, but, color me silly. What do I know? I'm just a member, is all I can say.
Well, Mark, Donald Trump, he's famous. He's known for, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. and drain the swamp. It kind of looks to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that maybe the NRA needs to drain the swamp within the NRA. Is that a fair summation or not?
That would be my suggestion. Drain what created the issue and move on. And I'm hopeful that can happen. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm hopeful that whoever is there and whoever did what they did before finds a way to correct it, because America has to have a strong National Rifle Association. It has to. It does none of us any good to see the NRA collapse. Believe me when I tell you this. I'm a member of Gun Owners of America. I'm a life member of the Second Amendment Foundation. And I got to be honest with you. If you want to deal with an organization that's really making a difference, the Second Amendment Foundation is in 38 courtrooms across the country right now. Is seeking cert on 2 different cases for the Supreme Court. It's the Second Amendment Foundation and Alan Gottlieb that are responsible for 82% of the pro-gun court victories across this country, such as Need do I tell you? The Washington, D.C. case, the Wren case, Ezell case in Chicago, the McDonald Chicago case. It was the Second Amendment Foundation that wiped out the ban of handguns in Washington, D.C. and Chicago. It's the Second Amendment Foundation that's winning our freedoms back one lawsuit at a time. Every dollar bill you spend at SAF goes right to the fund to hire the attorneys to pay for the cases. Not private jets flying all over God's creation, paying $5,000, $6,000 of rent for a very beautiful 28-year-old intern. We still haven't figured that one out yet. And certainly Alan Gottlieb's bow ties.
Okay? Oh, yes.
His bow ties are reasonably priced. I know that for a fact. I've looked at them with him. So if you want to spend your money somewhere where there are no questions, that's the place to do it. And I'm saying all this right now, Skip, with no coffee in me whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I was at the SHOT Show, and I saw Alan Gottlieb and his bow tie, and it's like I'd never met him before, but as soon as I saw the bow tie, I go, wow, I know who that is. But
Yeah. Alan and I do a lot of work together, and I can tell you that as I'm a member of the board of directors of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, phenomenal organization working in conjunction with the Second Amendment Foundation out of Bellevue, Washington. Our board meeting is every year at the GRPC, the Gun Rights Policy Conference, this year being held in Phoenix. I encourage everybody. It's free to attend. If you want to come out and be a part of the actual gun lobby, this is it. 600 to 800 attendees, depending on the size of the venue. It is free to attend. The rates for the rooms are cut back to virtually nothing. It's at the Marriott in Phoenix. You got to get yourself to Phoenix, but trust me, flights to Phoenix at the end of September are cheap because it's still hot.
Mm-hmm.
And you get out there, you'll walk away with $250 worth of books. You walk away with material. You meet everyone you've ever seen on TV or heard on any radio program. Anyone is there. This is the premier event of the year, is the GRPC. And you can sit down and have a conversation with Mr. Gottlieb, myself, or anybody else that you want to talk to is there. And it's a blast, and what it does is it lays out the agenda that we're going to use going forward. The National Rifle Association has a presence there. Every state gun rights group has a presence there. And it's the place we all get together and move the agenda forward for the next year and set it for the next 12 months. So highly recommend, if you're interested in doing that, visit SAF.org for Second Amendment Foundation, SAF or SAF.org, and click on GRPC and register. It's free. You even get a beautiful box lunch both days. So show up and join us. It's a ball.
Yeah. Well, I watched the Second Amendment Foundation. I watched the articles come through and hear the announcements, and it just seems like they hardly ever lose a case.
They don't. That's because they don't take stupid cases. That's the brilliance of Alan Gottlieb. Mm-hmm. Let me make this very clear, and I don't say this lightly because I take this very, very seriously. Alan Gottlieb is the single most powerful man on earth today relative to the gun rights movement. No one comes close. It is Alan Gottlieb that has the final say on every case that moves forward, regardless at what level. Whether it's a local Seattle level gun tax or whether it's moving through its way through the Supreme Court, it is Mr. Gottlieb who has done that. And I will also tell you this, that it is Mr. Gottlieb who spends time in Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. It's Mr. Gottlieb who flies to Washington to meet with people who work with Donald Trump. So don't think, because it's Gottlieb who understands the judicial system and the judges. This is a man who people seek guidance from when it comes to pro-rights judges. This is a very powerful man, and a man that is so humble and so wonderful, and one of my closest friends, if not my closest friend, in the world. But it is Alan Gottlieb that makes the decision on these cases, and you're right. We barely ever lose. And notice I said we. I'm a life member of SAF. So I can say we barely lose. And it's because of the brilliance and the wisdom of Alan Gottlieb. Very powerful man that, you see him on TV. You see him all over the news from time to time. You meet him everywhere. He'll sit and talk with anybody. Meanwhile, he is literally, in his organization, is responsible for 80+% of the pro-rights legislation that has worked its way through the courts. And I've met some of the plaintiffs in the cases. The Deer Park, Illinois case that was just overturned. Rhonda Ezell, dear friend of mine from the Ezell v. Chicago case. This is the real deal. So visit us at SAF.org. If you can make it to the GRPC, come out and join us.
All right.
Come out and join us. No scandal going on here. We win, man. We win our firearms freedom back one lawsuit at a time. That's our motto, and we stand by it.
Mark, I noticed a tweet from Donald Trump where he talked about the NRA, and he doesn't pull a whole lot of punches. What he said, reach around and pull your head out of your butt, NRA, and clean this up, and let's move on in a positive way.
I'm familiar with that tweet, and I think it was well said.
Yeah. Well, how, Mark, the person that's listening right now, the factory worker, the cab driver, the doctor, the lawyer, whoever they are, the NRA member, what do we do? Are they even going to listen to us if we say anything? What should the membership do right now?
Write a letter to a member of the board of directors. Call them. Let them know. I've gotten a lot of email from people who have gotten some very unfriendly responses up in Virginia, I guess because they're sick and tired of getting phone calls. You can speak with your wallet. Continue to be a member, but don't put out any more contributions until they do what we want them to do, until they fix the problems. I backed out of it. I got so much mail, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So I backed out of the offers from the NRA, but they come in every single day. And, here's another optic I'm talking about. The NRA has just put out a letter to their members saying, look, we're healthy. Forget what you're seeing. We're healthy. We're financially viable. We are healthy. And then that very afternoon, their mail out went out saying, we're doomed if you don't support us. The NRA can fold. What? Who's responsible for this?
Yeah.
Okay, again, I'm talking and referring to the optics of this. I understand how fundraisers are written, but don't try to scare the crap out of everybody and then in the same breath send an email out through all the board of directors telling everybody that we're good and we're healthy financially.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yep. It can only be one.
And
it's one or the other.
That's the optic that's going up right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Mark, you're right.
So,
for the NRA membership, for me, I'm just going to write them and say, listen, I'm a lifetime member. I still support you. But until you get this straightened out and fix this, I'm not going to send you any more money. Is that a fair way to handle it?
That absolutely is a fair way to handle it. I've called for that myself on the radio. I'm not relinquishing my membership, but they're not getting any more money from me. That's the way I'm choosing to deal with it.
Yeah.
Look, let's face it. We've got a massive election coming up in 2020. Hopefully the NRA gets it together by then. I'm hopeful that they will. I see signs that they're going to. I'm hopeful that they will. But, we'll see. Those people that made some bad decisions need to be held accountable. That's my position on that.
Yep. And hey, great minds think alike, because that's how I'm thinking too, Mark. All right, we are out of time. Mark, one more time, tell people how they can get a hold of Mark Walters on Armed American Radio.
Mark at armedamericanradio.org, direct email, or you can go to the website to listen to the programs, armedamericanradio.com. I'm in a city near you. If I'm not, call your local station and ask them to put me on. I'm 250 stations and growing daily.
All right, awesome. Mark, thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Skip.
All right, folks, we got a 2-minute break here. Go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/Midwest Tactical, and then also Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. And when we come back, I will tell you my opinion about the NRA scandal and what I think you ought to do. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to my dad's Home Defense Radio show. You're gonna love it.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 19 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
This is Colonel Danny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom. Skip, it's time for our Armed America Report. What do we have?
All of us here at Frontlines of Freedom want our listeners to get trained and get armed in that order. We fully support the right to keep and bear arms for all law-abiding families, and we encourage you to find out about the laws governing use of deadly force in your state and follow them to the letter. And of course, don't forget to follow the rules of safety and common sense whenever you're carrying a firearm to protect the ones you love. What's the story this week, Colonel?
A Florida father chased down and shot a carjacking suspect who deputies say drove off with the man's 2012 Honda and his 6-year-old son, who was sitting inside the vehicle at the time. Just after 2:30 a.m. Saturday, 29-year-old Lamar Thurman got behind the wheel of the owner's car, which was left running outside a residence, while the unidentified victim said goodbye to friends. The carjacker drove away, but the boy's father and his friends gave chase. The carjacker crashed the car about 5 miles away, and the vehicle temporarily became stuck before he managed to free it as the father and his friends approached. He tried to drive away again, but the father opened fire, hitting the felon several times. He crashed about 200 yards away. The child was unharmed.
Thanks, Colonel. This is a very difficult scenario simply because the 6-year-old child was in danger during the entire incident. There are so many ways this innocent child could have died. He could have been killed in an auto accident. He could have been murdered by the carjacker. He could have even been killed by his own father's stray bullets. This child is lucky to be alive. First, let's look at how this entire tragedy could have been prevented. 1. Never, never, never leave your child alone in the car, not even at a friend's house. 99.9% of the time, everything will be fine, but it only takes that one time and your child can die. And to leave the car running is even worse. It's not the father's fault that this man stole his car, but he does bear some responsibility. 2. Nothing good ever happens away from home at 2:30 a.m. Whenever possible, be home by 11 p.m. and get your whole family tucked safely into bed and turn on your alarm system and sleep until morning. 6-year-olds shouldn't be out and about socializing at 2:30 in the morning, and neither should their parents. Now, some people would criticize the father for shooting at the fleeing vehicle with the child inside. I watched a video of a similar incident where the father opened fire and accidentally killed his little girl. However, I may have done the same thing in this particular scenario. After all, you can't just let a kidnapper and carjacker drive away with your child. But if you have to shoot, make sure you are well trained, accurate, and know for sure where your bullets are going to land. The father must have known that because all his bullets were on target and the child was unhurt. Nonetheless, all's well that ends well, and I'm sure the carjacker and the father are much wiser.
Amen to that.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my new book, Concealed Carry for Christians. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and your family, and that includes people of faith. Our churches are not as safe as they used to be, and that's why I included chapters on forming church safety teams and stopping mass shooters. You can get Concealed Carry for Christians real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell, Concealed Carry for Christians, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Concealed Carry for Christians by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. Awesome interview with Mark Walters from Armed American Radio. Mark is always incredible. That guy, he's funny, he's witty, he's well-informed, and he can talk, the antlers off a moose, It's just awesome. Thank you, Mark, for being on the show. That was great as always. Now, I want to go ahead and I want to take a look at Mark's article. It was in AmmoLand. He referred to it a couple of times, ammoland.com. You can just search on ammoland.com and then search on NRA Suits, Mark Walters, and you'll get it. The title of his article was NRA Suits. Ever heard of buy one, get one free? And a big old picture of Wayne Lapierre there. This NRA garbage reads like a Cops episode. We've all seen it when the cop rifles through the suspect's pants pockets and find a bunch of money and drugs. Oh, I love that cop show. Don't you just love it when the perp says, "It ain't mine, man. These ain't my pants, man," the cop asks. These aren't your pants? Nah, man, I don't know whose pants they are. They ain't my pants. The loser says, of course, to anyone who isn't on the drugs that the cops found in the suspect's pockets, of course, they're his pants, and that excuse just isn't going to fly, either to the police, the judge, or the jury. Cue up the NRA list of excuses. In the latest twist to an already sordid tale, the NRA has sued Ackerman McQueen again, this time with what I'm calling the, quote, "these aren't my pants," unquote excuse. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. From the Daily Beast, the headline reads, NRA sues advertising firm for alleged media leaks, coup attempt, but it's the subhead that got me. The gun rights group claims Ackerman McQueen leaked confidential info to tarnish and ultimately destroy the public image of the NRA and its senior leadership. By now, you know what the NRA is referring to in this latest suit against its longtime business partner, I guess like 30 years. Excessive and embarrassing expenditures. Wayne and company are upset that his extravagant spending on clothing and travel have been exposed. But wait, they're not disputing the amounts, only the fact that it's been revealed. Apparently. Seems the top brass on Waples Mill Road has a, well, lot of brass. Why? I'm guessing that none of this would be going on if it weren't true. Take this from the Daily Beast. The suit also says the NRA has been receiving media inquiries about Lapierre's travel, wardrobe, and other expenses incurred in connection with AMC projects, based on AMC's advice or on trips with itineraries crafted by AMC. And it blames the firm for those leaks. The suit says the firm directly or indirectly leaked to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Rolling Stone, and the Daily Beast. Yeah, I read the Rolling Stone article. It was very detailed. Lapierre's wardrobe has become a flashpoint. Earlier this month, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing leaked documents, that Lapierre billed Ackerman McQueen over $500,000 for clothes, travel, and other expenses. The lawsuit, meanwhile, says Lapierre made these purchases based on AMC's advice in over 15 years. Once the NRA started asking the firm about expenses that appeared questionable, the firm became evasive and hostile, the suit alleges. So let me get this straight. In simpleton terms, mind you, according to this, AMC advises Wayne to make substantial expenditures on clothing and travel. Wayne makes large expenditures on clothes and travel, no problem, until the spending is leaked. Now it's a problem, but it apparently wasn't a problem until it was leaked. They told me to do it. Isn't going to fly with membership. How do you know? Because I'm a member, and this isn't flying with me. You know, Mark is spot on with this. He really, really is. I'm guessing that most of us, when we heard the atrocious amount of money that Wayne Lapierre spent on his travel, and we're not talking about, what he spent to get to the SHOT Show or the NRA show. He went to the Bahamas, to Beverly Hills. The man makes $1.3 million a year. Is it too much to ask him to buy his own clothing? You can't afford to buy your own clothes? I mean, I can see, we should pay his way to go to the NRA convention. I understand that. But the man spends nothing. He doesn't spend any of his own money on living expenses. Everything is provided for him. It's like being in the military, right? So, I founded the Second Amendment March. Not quite as big as the NRA, I'll grant you that. But we operate on a shoestring budget. I remember last year, we were selling Second Amendment March t-shirts, right? And, I wanted the Second Amendment March t-shirt. So what did I do? I took a $20 bill out of my pocket, I put it in the donation can, and I took a t-shirt. It's vitally important in the Second Amendment movement, a nonprofit organization. You have to remain above reproach. You've got to do that. There are just gazillions of liberals out there and the media and politicians who want to destroy the National Rifle Association. So what does Wayne Lapierre do? He says, here's some ammo. Go ahead and shoot me. He provided the ammunition to hurt the NRA. It was stupid. Why do smart, intelligent, powerful people do this? I'll tell you why. Because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you get powerful like this, when people start to worship you and think that you can do no wrong, that's when you need to back off and say, okay, Skip, you need to stay humble. Back off. Skip, you're just a man. You make lots of mistakes. Listen to some of the things you think on a daily basis. You are not God. Not with a capital G, not with a small g. You're just Skip. Humility will save you a lot of money and a lot of heartache. Just back off and say, buy your own suit. I buy my own suits, and I have 3 suits now. Okay, prior to December, I didn't have any, but my daughter, she was getting married, and I had to walk her down the aisle. So, okay, yeah, I got to buy a suit. So where do I go? All right, I hired a private jet, and then I flew to Beverly Hills, and I had several suits tailor-made just for me, just for that wedding. And then I charged it to the Second Amendment March. Is there anyone out there who believed that? Anyone at all? The Second Amendment March can't afford Wayne Lapierre's tie, okay? The Second Amendment March can't afford Alan Gottlieb's bow tie, okay? That's just the way that it is. And you know what? Wayne Lapierre, he's got to go. Like Mark said, he's 74 years old. He's been around a long time. He has an inflated opinion of his own self-worth. Why? Because he believes we should pay for $500,000 in clothes and travel for him. That tells me that the man has been corrupted. Save the NRA. Wayne Lapierre, step down, resign, retire, go quietly into the night. Do not take the NRA with you. It's the way that it's got to be. Here, in Mark Walter's article, it says, here's the deal. America needs a strong NRA, and our rights need a strong NRA. I want to and plan on remaining an NRA member, but some things must change at the top. And that about sums it up. Folks, we have got to save the NRA from corruption. This is a scandal. This is scandalous. This is our NRA. You get all of these letters from the National Rifle Association. Give us money, give us money. Your NRA is in trouble. We are the NRA. Remember all those media campaigns? If we are the NRA, then we should be able to change the NRA. What does that mean? It means getting involved. It means going to NRA.org and sending them emails, sending them written letters, giving them calls. Demand that Wayne Lapierre stand down, resign, and that a full investigation takes place. That's the only way this will get fixed, because we have to police our own. If we don't police our own, who's going to police us? It's going to be the New York State Attorney General. It's going to be the Democrats in Congress. It's going to be the U.S. court system. Man, folks, we have got to hold Wayne Lapierre accountable for what he's done. Now, granted, Mark's right. He's done a lot of great things for the Second Amendment. But I'm writing a letter. I'm saying, listen, NRA, I'm a life member. I want to support you, but you're not getting another dime until you drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. It's the way it's got to be. NRA.org. And that is what I really think, folks. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have sugarcoated that. All right, I have a feeling I'm not on Wayne Lapierre's Christmas list anymore. That's fine. Do the right thing, folks. Help us out. NRA, this is a blue-collar organization. It's just the working man's organization, right? So working men and women, get involved. Send that email, send that letter, make that phone call to the NRA and demand Wayne Lapierre's resignation, effective immediately, and let's drain the NRA swamp. All right, well, glad to get that off my chest. Once again, thank you to Mark Walters for giving us a straight scoop on that. You can check out Mark Walters on Facebook, on Twitter, armedamericanradio.org. He is all over the virtual planet. I will be on his show this Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you listen to Armed American Radio live, I will be there at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be talking about my new book, Concealed Carry for Christians. If you haven't bought the book yet, you need to buy the book, okay? You know, I never told you how much I paid for my suits. I bought them at the Salvation Army, 3 of them. They were $7.25 a piece. So I got 3 suits for, less than $30. And they're great suits. I love these suits. They're already broken in for me. Maybe I'll send one of those to Wayne Lapierre. Maybe they'll fit. I don't know. He can have them tailored, right? All right. Go to Amazon.com, Concealed Carry for Christians. Also pick up Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry book. And remember, I will be on Armed American Radio, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday night with Mark Walters. Well, okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. Until next week, remember your purpose in life is to find something greater than yourself and serve it. Always remember, God, family, country, in that order. It's important how you live, but it's equally important how you die. Your family and the ones you love need your protection, so train, always train, stay alert, stay alive. Until next week on the Home Defense Show, this is your host, Skip Coryell. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best in home defense.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!